Hello, buddy.
G'day, mate. Good to see you.
How about you driving me around? This is nice.
Long time no see,
You're
mate.
usually the passenger.
Or getting the passenger in trouble.
That's it. That's your preferred role.
Thanks for coming in, and we're just going to go for a little cruise. We all know that September is finals time.
Yep.
And that's why we play footy. We play footy for finals, and we play footy to win premierships. So it's heating up at the moment. And first of all, who would have thought the Giants would have been in the finals this year?
I know. I must admit, you sort of get to a point when you're 3-7 or whatever it was, and you start thinking, where am I going in September?
Planning your holidays, planning your off season.
What was
straight
the
away.
thing? I was like, gee, I don't have a lot of time off. Knowing it was my last year too, I was like, no training in October. The saddest thing about missing finals generally for me is training the morning of the grand final. Yes. I've already started running well and truly, and you know that two teams are doing what you want to do and you're actually getting up running 8Ks.
Yes.
That's about as depressing as it gets.
Yeah, it is, but the Giants have got on a bit of a burn, haven't they? And I reckon they just took, like you said, 3-7 to start, but then took them a little bit just to get into the season and get into the new game style and a new coach for the first time. Well,
yeah,
Sheeds.
Yeah, well, Sheeds.
Was he coaching?
Sheeds into Leon was pretty smooth. It was probably more Choco into Leon was probably the bigger disruption, but Sheeds was sort of the overarching godfather of it all. But then, yeah, for me personally, like when you coach, it was like a big shift. Like I've never changed coach before, like we spoke about, and like a whole new game plan, different train of thought. He was very structured, Kingsley, and it's funny, we're sort of going along, playing in like 30-minute bursts, and we obviously weren't winning, but you heard these stories coming out of Collingwood under Fly, where it was like, hey, when it clicks, it clicks.
Yeah.
And I thought we saw some really good signs, and it was actually fun. We lost to Richmond at home.
That was a tight one.
Yeah, we had 10, 12 chances to win the game, and I was like, geez, that hurt. Like I think we went to 4 and 8, and I was like, we're actually going okay, and then bang, you get 7 in a row, which we'd never done before. And you start to think yourself, what if? And then a couple of big wins home. But yeah, it just sort of clicked. It's hard to say, like, to go from playing 30 minutes, twice a game was what we were doing, to playing basically 100 out of 120. And now we're striving for 120 because you need to play 120 minutes to win finals.
You certainly do. And you've played in some finals. I've played alongside you. We'll get to that a bit later, but I want to touch on, obviously, this year, and we're talking about Kingsley versus Leon, the difference in personalities. Because I know what Leon was like as a person. Obviously, very much a footy head.
Yeah.
Very much love talking footy, no matter like any minute of the day. Is Kingsley similar, or is he a little bit different, or he's got those attributes but not as much?
I think to be a senior coach, that sort of has to be in your DNA a bit. And like Kingsley watches a lot of footy. He's across there, but Leon was like across everything. Like he could tell you what happened third quarter, 2017 versus Adelaide Oval. Like that was his thing. And Leon loved that, I guess. But Leon loved talking. Like Leon would talk to every player on the list every week and all that. And I guess Kingsley's he's so crystal clear with Kingers. Like everyone knows exactly where they stand, what their role is, and what to execute. And I guess that's one of Kingsley's big strengths. Leon sort of had a bit of a philosophy of like, hey, this is your role, but you've got a bit of space around that to do that. While Kingsley's come in, very much crystallise what you have to do. And I guess
you want to fit into that mold.
Yeah, and that's it. It's like, hey, if you want to play this role, and be in this team, this is exactly what you have to do. And
it's an old school sort of style, isn't it?
Yeah, and so for the wing's a great example. Under Leon, the wing, we just flip it through, whatever, a bit of freedom. Now the wing is expected to do a certain thing, and I guess from the footy, I think they're both footy heads, but Leon was probably more pronounced with how he did it. Like he talked about it all the time, and he loved it, and that was it. I think Kingsley, his knowledge is very, very, very good. But Leon I think Leon's a bit more extroverted, and maybe Kingsley's a bit more introverted. Equally questionable fashion senses at times, both of them.
Like every single coach ever. I think the wives and girlfriends have always tried to change the fashion sense of coaches, but it never ever happens. And as I said, we'll touch on your career when we go and have a little seat, and when I take you to, you're probably thinking, whereabouts are we actually going? But we're just cruising around. I'm going to find a nice little spot.
Yeah, I thought you were house hunting.
Find a nice little spot to have a good footy chat, and about obviously footy finals and that. But obviously hanging up the boots. You probably didn't think you would play this year. or the question mark was there,
Yeah.
but then decided to,
Yep.
and then knew that this was going to be last year?
Yeah, I think you'll appreciate this too. Coming to the end, like at the end of last year, I was so angry with my body, and I wasn't enjoying football for a number of reasons. And I'd sort of had enough. I was like, I just can't do it again. You know, the effort required. You know, and then the coach changed. You know, we announced Kingsley. We did all that, and I was sort of sitting there, and between Dave Matthews and Adam Kingsley, sort of chatted to them and sort of convinced to go again. And
That's a nice thing.
Yeah, it was nice. You know, I was very open to calling it quits, but I guess for me, I probably thought there was a little bit left. I still thought I could play, because last year every time I was available, I played. I thought I played all right, but the body let me down 2 times, 2 hammies. But yeah, that was it. And I also knew that if I came back, it was a bit of the win now versus win later sort of question. And Kingsley was very open about that, so I sort of knew that if I came back, maybe 12 to 16 games was going to be the number. Let's leave some space open for Leck and Jack Buckley. Anyway, yeah, came back, and you know, slow start in pre-season coming off a hammy, but yeah, I've actually really loved it. You know, injuries really rule me. Like I was getting ready to play round 1, last one-on-1 of the day, doing extras. Don't do extras. Rolled my ankle.
Come on.
Rolled my ankle and missed round 1, and then just kept hurting myself. But at the same time, Jack Buckley just took the position by storm, and in the end, I just became a cheerleader all year, and
a coach.
Coach. Yeah, more of a vibe man. I just think football, you know, can become so stressful, and I guess by the end of it, I sort of could see the fact that I'd probably stressed myself too much through my career, worrying about things, and hopefully try to alleviate those fears this year. But yeah, I wasn't sure if I was going to go again, but in the end, I've loved the year.
Now, so we've landed at the place I want to take, because I thought, you know what, we're in Sydney, the weather's beautiful, so we're going to go sit by the water and just look at the bay there and have a bit more of a chat.
You beauty.
Well, here we are, Phil, Parsley Bay, and I thought, you know what, I don't want to do it in the studio, face to face like what everyone else does, so I thought we'd just come outside and obviously soak up the sun in Sydney, or a bit of the shade. Drafted pick 10 to Adelaide. From where were you living? Were you
North Adelaide. No, it was North Adelaide. Yeah. I moved to Adelaide when I was 12, I think.
Yeah. 3 years there.
3 years there.
And then
the Giants.
The Giants. Yeah, what were your thoughts? What was your initial thought? Because one, you got approached.
Yep.
You're a 3rd-year player or a 2nd-year player, probably when they approached you. Top pick. And then
Adelaide to Adelaide was a big deal back then too. Yeah. Staying at home.
Thrust upon the captaincy at the same time as well. What was the thoughts going through your head? Brand new club.
At the time, complete naivety. Yeah, I had no idea what was going on really. I sort of didn't think I was getting drafted till my top age year. Then I did my shoulder, and then all of a sudden I went from being like no one knew who I was to being a 1st rounder to then being picked 10. I was like, oh geez.
Probably your height probably helped you a little bit.
I think I was athletic. You wouldn't believe it. They used the word athletic. I think it was athletic. Athletic.
Who was the person who used the word
I can't remember,
athletic?
but athletic, competitive, and something else were the 3 words used. But like, I thought I was going to Hawks at pick 16 because they needed a centre half back because Trent Crowe broke his foot.
Yes.
So there was 3 flags. I just wished away then.
You missed, yeah.
But no, so did that, and then I just did what every young player did, do that 1 year extension straight away back in the day. Like I did one by January. The thing was, I didn't even know it, but it ended up being genius because then I was out of contract when the Giants started. But Nathan Bock went to the Gold Coast at the end of 2010. So I got into the side of my 2nd year, played 15, Bocky left.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, well, I'm going to be centre half back here. So let's just like wait a couple of months and then do the deal so that they see that I'm valuable. I did that, round 1 went well, and then the Giants approached me and I said no a couple of times. And then I hurt my shoulder and I was so bored. My manager's like, we may as well go and see them.
See what have a chat.
Anyway, I did that, and then from then it got serious, and then I left. I must admit I probably misjudged it. I remember Neil Craig. I spoke to Neil Craig about it, the coach, and he was like, Phil, you can just wait 2 years and the money will still be there, deal will still be there, everything will still be there. And I didn't really believe him. Then you just did it. You did what probably I could have done.
Yeah.
But to go up the start was a great privilege, but I was so far out of my depth. It felt like we were making up as we went, as a whole club, and then it probably wasn't until you showed up that year, that was the most important year in our whole journey. But for me personally, like to be captain at 21 and having played 18 games, that was
Bit of
hard
pressure.
work. Yeah, but I guess no one was really watching us. Like they were sort of watching us to see how bad we'd be.
Because you were like,
There was no pressure.
It was like a local footy club. You were in a portable.
Yep.
You were training at one point in a baseball field.
Yes. So Monday, Fridays were on a baseball diamond.
Didn't have a home ground.
No.
That hadn't been built. The facilities you got now, they hadn't been built.
Yep.
You had a couple of older guys, Chad Corns,
Lukey Power, James McDonald, Dean Brogan, and Satanto Helper. There are some names for you.
So there's some very good
Yeah.
players in there, but mix them in with 40, 18, 17, 18-year-olds. You're in for the long haul.
Yeah, I must admit, I misjudged that. I was like, we're going to have 30 first-round picks. And I was like, well, we should be pretty good. And I was like, even if like it doesn't go that well, surely by their I was like, I was an all right player in my third year. But I forgot the fact that I was surrounded, when I started, I was surrounded by McLeod, Goodwin, Rutten, Stevens, John Cock. So I think our young players didn't have such a nice ride as I did. So
Especially in the back line.
yeah, the back line, like when we lost by 168 points, I think it was, to Hawthorn and Chad Corns' 250th, I was thinking to myself, it's a long way from like Amy Stadium, just cruising around. But no, it was like I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself. I was very thankful for Cal Ward, particularly, sort of both being 21, co-captain, him and Luke Power in the first year. That sort of helped a lot. Like I was always like thought I was going to be a leader of a footy club, but to be 21, like I wouldn't recommend that to too many people because I was still trying to find out what kind of player I was.
Well, exactly, and I was just about to nice segue into the fact that Wardy was a midfielder. So just see the ball, hunt the ball, don't worry about your opponent. You're a key back, so you sort of have to man up. And you're playing in a team, obviously, that with an inexperienced backline and still playing on some. You weren't playing on Dunstall or Lockett,
luckily,
but you're still playing on some very, very good players, like up and coming players. Buddy was obviously one of the better ones you've played against. Who else were the opponents you came up against, like when you first sort of start early days?
the bloke that gave me most issues, although a lot of them did, but Trav caused me a lot. Trav called me a lot of issues because I wasn't very big. I used to try to run and jump and come in late and body, and for most players that was okay, but for some reason, Trav used to love taking contested marks on me. In the end, I ended up getting him late because I don't know, got a bit luckier. But early on, 2012, we played you guys up there, and a backline's never been bullied verbally or physically like that before. Trav kicked 6. Luckily, only 4 on me, but I couldn't stop him. Like, I honestly couldn't stop. I can't remember what he would have kicked a few behinds. But so him early days, but like played on Pav a lot. Matty Pavlich, Buddy was obviously a big one. Kurt Tippett and Taylor Walker at Adelaide. I'm trying to go through all the teams. Jonathan Brown kicked 5 on me one day.
Did you learn a bit playing on Jeremy Cameron just in like intra clubs at training? You had like
Well, the thing was,
up and coming kid as well.
Jezza never trained hard, so it wasn't too bad. It was, but I must admit, the first year, that was the one thing that was hard. Was that like, I was like, if I could be a ruckman, it'd be 50-50 every time.
Yeah.
And if I was a mid, maybe it's 60-40.
Just see ball, get ball.
But every time, like we were giving up 70 inside 50s a game, always kicked to my man's advantage. And I was like, I got like 48 goals kicked on me in 22 games. And I thought I'd done pretty well.
Well, you learnt the hard way.
Yeah, but that was a lot of goals. But no, I definitely learnt the hard way. And, you know, I was very much protected at Adelaide. Like, if anything got out of hand at Adelaide, I'd just give that play to Ben Rutten. And then I'd just go on to someone. Yeah, but like, so like when I was at Adelaide, I started to get bigger plays, sort of back end of then. Like I played on Buddy, I got Pav, Nick Rewalt, and Jack Rewalt. I'd play on them a bit. And if ever got too hard, Ben would just take over. But when I was in the Giants, it was just me for the whole game.
And we're talking about, you spoke about your injuries in your first couple of years. You got to the Giants and then I arrived. Round 1, we're playing the Swans.
Yes.
Never beaten the Swans before. You're lining up on Buddy. He fell over you or...
Yeah, I went to pick up a ball, Craig Bird actually.
Craig Bird fell over you.
So I was chasing to tackle Buddy and then went to pick up the ball and Craig Bird came in to tackle me, but his knee got me right underneath the bottom rib.
Halfway through the...
5 minutes to go in the first quarter.
5 minutes to go in the first quarter. And so played out that game.
Yep.
Thunderstorms.
Yep.
It was very theatrical. Stayed in the rooms at half time for an extra 20 odd minutes. Came back out. Ended up getting the win.
Yep.
First time we've ever beaten the Swans. Leon's first game.
Yep.
Everyone's pretty excited. Phil's a little bit sore.
Yeah, I was a bit sore. I was tired. I was really tired.
You're tired. So explain to us, because we know about the injury, but explain to us like the extremeness of the actual injury.
Yeah, so the worst thing was, when we had that extended break, I'd already been hit, and I was like to Joe Lombardo and Leroy, our doctor and physio, I was like, I'm sore, like really sore here. They're like, oh, where is it? I'm like, yeah, they're like, it's probably your bottom 2 ribs. We think you'll be fine, but maybe you've broken them. But like, I'm like, yeah, the pain's fine. And then like going through the game, like I couldn't keep up. I was getting so tired, and luckily it was wet. I reckon he would have kicked 10 on me. But finished the game, we're all celebrating, and then I just was exhausted, and then sort of left there. We had to go back to the facility, and I was walking up this little race, and I just like collapsed on the railing, rushed in, and got on the, I think, either morphine injected or on the green whistle.
Yeah.
Call an ambo, rushed to hospital. Everyone thinks I'm okay because I sort of stabilised, and then went to do a CT scan of my kidney because they're like, oh, we'll just,
Just in case.
and I was like, I need to go to the toilet, I need to go to the toilet, come with a vomit bag. Just literally, I'm about to get pushed in, I said, stop, I need to go to the toilet. So I wheel over, start doing a wee, all blood. 800 mils of pure blood. Anyway, rushed into hospital, code blue. That was terrifying because like I was pretty drugged out of it because I was on so much pain relief. But mum was in there, mum's a doctor, and they started yelling out code blue, which means get into surgery pretty quickly. So mum starts crying, not great. My dad starts tearing up, not great. And I'm there like, what's going on? Rush into hospital. They keep you awake for the kidney, and they go in there. So I'd split a fair bit of my kidney, and so I was like losing a lot of blood. And they go in there and they put coils in to try to stop the bleeding. And that sort of worked. Started to feel better. But then what happened was I got worse again, and they couldn't do it again. So they waited like 15 hours, then I had to have the same surgery again, but they were going to take my kidney out. And I'd already decided that if I lost my kidney, I'd retire. Because I know Tom Lonergan played with one kidney, but to me, I was never going to risk it because I was like, I don't want to live on dialysis for the rest of my life. And they said, oh, we're going to take out your kidney. And I was like, can we just try that surgery one more time? And they said, no. And anyway, in the end, the urologist was like, yep, let's do that. So I said, knock me out. I don't want to be awake if you have to take it out. So I did that, and they saved it. Anyway, I ended up spending 8 days ICU, 6 days in the urology ward. And I still remember when you came and visited me, you, Stephen and Johnny came and visited me in the hospital, which was very nice. But yeah, I lost like 8 kilos. I had a blood clot in my stomach bigger than a football, and I was pretty unwell.
Yeah, so the boys went out and celebrated. The other 21 boys went out and celebrated like they won the premiership because we'd just beaten the Swans, and you spent nearly 2 weeks in hospital.
Yeah, I was a bit flat because I would have celebrated pretty hard because I kept Buddy to 1, and I was.
And we got the win.
And we'd been so bad. I was like, this is a great day. And then I'm living vicariously, and then you go and ruin it by losing to St Kilda the next week.
We certainly did. Yeah, we had the premiership hangover after 1 week. Let's fast forward a little bit more to finals, like finals football, and I thought the Giants progressed quicker than what I had originally thought they would. You obviously got there initially and thought this is going to take a while. We played off in the final, and of course our first final again is against the Swans. What was the feeling? Because like you came into the AFL system, huge club. Make the decision to move to a smaller club, very small club, and then know that it's going to take a process to get to playing finals. What was it? What was the feeling like leading into that week? Knowing we're playing the arch rivals as well.
Well, the first thing was growing up in Adelaide, the showdown. There'd only ever been one showdown final, 2005. So like to get that as our first final was unbelievable. I was still annoyed that 2015 we missed the finals. We finished 11-11. That really annoyed me because we were 7-3 or something like that. So 2016 we went from being okay to then really good, and then I thought we were the best team going into the finals. And in that week, I was 25, and to have never played a final. In my 3s at the Crows, we didn't do very well. So never played a final. I was nervous. I think that's the scariest thing. If you haven't played a final, you're so worried about how you're going to go, because at the end of the day, you want to play one final. So first of all, I was like, I hope I play a final. Because you look at the Carlton guys, Paddy Cripps is one of the best players of this generation. He's playing his first final now at 27, 28. A
couple of 100 games.
Sam Doherty. So you're like, geez, I hope I get one. And then you're like, all right, I'm going to get one. Geez, if you play bad in finals, everyone remembers it. So I was like, geez, I hope I'm good enough to play finals. And then the added bonus of the Swans, and the Swans had finished first on the ladder. For me personally, a week knowing you're playing on Buddy Franklin, and if that goes badly, you probably cost your team the game, was always a constant thought. But we were pretty we were brash. There's no doubt about that. We were confident. That was big. We had 60,000 at Stadium Australia, which was a pretty awesome atmosphere. And halfway through that third quarter when we got rolling, it's probably my favourite win of my career.
That's a big one, yeah. It was an amazing feeling, and then take that once again, nice win, a very good win, and then a couple of weeks later, we're in a prelim.
Yeah, the doggies.
And we were confident, brash, definitely. Little bit of a rivalry against the Bulldogs because we both sort of progressed up the previous couple of years. Coming into a prelim against the Dogs at our home ground, maximum 20,000. Feelings going into that, and then straight away feelings after the resulting.
Yeah, I guess first things first was, there was some bad blood. I think 2015 we played them at Marvel, and their fans, and they were going after Griff. Ryan Griffin had just moved, and they decided to go after Wardy. So there was a bit going on already, and we had a pretty hostile game in about round 10 that year as well, and we beat them. But confident. Yeah, definitely confident again, but knew they were a good team, but felt as though
we had them covered.
Because the Swans played the Friday night and they won. They beat Geelong, I'm pretty sure, on the Friday night. So it was like, hey, we could play the Swans at a grand final. We know we'll have to be good, but I felt pretty good. You kicked a big goal in the last.
Very late, yeah.
Put us 16 points up, maybe. Always in the third. You kicked a big goal. We were 16 points up with about the 10-minute mark of the last. And to lose by 6 points, that's probably the one in my career was the biggest one that got away. I thought we were the best team in the comp that year. We let too many games slip to not get double home final. We got saved by that playing the Swans. Home prelim. I still remember an hour out, go out for your on-field warm-up. Obviously the Doggies fans shut up a lot. We got booed running onto our own ground.
Yeah, there was about 5,000.
They were there that early and they were going nuts. But that was complete devastation. But I think I consoled myself in the misbelief that it just can happen again.
Yeah.
And I was like, geez, I'm 20. I think I just turned 26. I was like, we've got a young team, we've got a good team. I've got 5 more years of playing big finals.
Well, we did. We played big finals. The biggest was the grand final. And talking about your injuries, there was a bit of a cloud over you going into that. There was a cloud over a few people. We'd probably had from what I describe as the best month of football I've been involved in because of the weeks leading up. Didn't expect to win, didn't expect to win, playing in the grand final. For you, childhood dream, but the little cloud over you about the injury. Did it sort of take away? It took that a little bit of the sting away?
Yeah, it did. I think the problem was prelim. So I'd probably played some of the best footy in my career back end of 19. Semi-finals, like personally, one of my most satisfying games. Prelim started really well, felt really good, then just jagged my calf a little bit. So went forward, we found a way to win. I didn't feel a huge part of that victory, like I did a little bit.
A bit foreign for you?
Yeah, it was. I like to think I set up one. But no,
one that counted?
Yeah, I think so. But then immediately you go from winning that to being like, oh no, what happens if I miss a grand final? Because you can play through a game, more likely than to get up for a game. And then managing my own emotions there was hard because we were so excited. But personally, I was like, oh, geez, I hope I play. And then get the scan, do all that. And by Sunday night, we'd made a plan about what was going to happen. And little did I know that there were multiple players, including yourself, that were in a boat of, let's see how we go. And basically, I said, don't tell me the result of the scan, I don't care. How about we just make a plan about if I pass every day, we'll just move to the next day, all the way through to game day. And I did. I literally felt good every day. And then it was like I couldn't run on the Friday because if I ran on the Friday, re-bleed, probably won't play. So it's like I have to do it in the warm-up. The only thing I do regret was that I should have just done my fitness test in the warm-up. But the only issue was that if I pulled out, Lockie Keefe was going to come in straight away and take my spot. And I just wanted to give him some time, but I got that wrong. I should have just done it in third. But personally, that week was like so stressful. I was just like, I hope I play.
You wake up in the morning.
You're doing tests. Yeah, you're doing tests yourself and you're like, geez. And the thing is like, being captain, let alone just another player, you don't want to let your team down. And I knew I was going to be in an important role anytime you play key defence or just defence in general. But yeah, I just, I'm very content with my decision. Like I felt good. I got beaten on the day, and that's just the way it goes. It's a
I think we all did that.
yeah. Well, it's a fun story. Like if I'm the reason we lost by 90 points, we've got a few issues, or like I'm either very good and very important, or Jack got me in that second quarter, and that's the one that hurt me. Kicked 3 1/4 on me, and that got them out to 5 goals, and then we couldn't bring it back. But personally, that was one of the best weeks of my life. I loved it. It was, like, as you said, an amazing month, amazing week. That first quarter when Jezza kicked that goal, we were out of our depth, probably hoping for a St Kilda Collingwood sort of miracle of 2010 and just get that ball to bounce the right way. Because they'd had the perfect run, they were fresh, they were waiting for us, and we were just trying to win every week. So, but I still loved it, and like I reflect on that whole thing like with no regrets.
Yep. Before I get to your off-field stuff, individual, like you're a team man, you're a captain, you had to be like the leader of kids from word go. Playing a pretty tough position centre half back, as we spoke about a little bit before. Best year, and do you think you were potentially underrated because of the hardship you had to go through early? Because if you were at Adelaide and you had Rutten and those guys around, you can flourish as probably a more attacking, aggressive player, Rance, like earlier on in your career, but you had to be that one, like you said, that pillar that is that strength for everyone else around you rather than the other way around.
Yeah, I guess I reflect on that a bit. I think, moving at a young age made me develop one part of my game, but probably the disadvantage of another. I know you were great helping me try and talk about how can I add layers to my game, and those layers probably didn't come till 2017, 18, 19, 20. And then, I've been in the system for a while. I guess one thing playing in a bad team is you can't be like proactive because the ball's most likely going to go to your man. And I think I learned how to defend really well in those times. Like I had to get better and like defend harder, but that probably came at the detriment of developing other parts of my game. And I think my best years were 17, 18, 19, 20. Like I was probably playing career best footy 2020, and then I did my knee, ripped out all the cartilage in my knee, and then it was probably never the same after that. But that was probably my best bit. And then the other thing that hurt me was, arguably the best, second best, third best backman of the 21st century was around the same time in Rance. But I was like a different kind of defender. Like I used to say I defended best because I tried not to get in contests by doing my work early, and that was like how I did. To be fair, like there were more talented players around me, like you and Haynes and Williams and the like that. My job was more to like get you the ball. Like it's countless how many times I got the ball and just gave it to you. Like that was my view. Was that like no? But my view was always like I don't need to be kicking or doing this. Like my job is to hopefully bring out the brilliance in everyone else. And like I was an okay player, but I wasn't at the level of you guys.
Yeah. Now off-field stuff, you're a very intelligent guy, and you're working very closely the AFLPA, and you have for a long, long time. Do you see that as something, a path you want to go down? AFL admin, be involved in an AFL club, or do you want to get out of AFL system totally and then maybe come back in down the track? What's the plan?
It's a good question. I've probably spent a fair bit of time this year thinking about it because I've had a fair bit of time on my hand. I guess the only passion I've had my whole life has been sport, particularly football. Like I've always studied. Like I studied every year by one of my whole AFL career. Finished an MBA at the end of this year, and then for me it's like what's next. I think for me, like I like to think I've got the old cliche growth mindset. Like for me, like I'm very inquisitive. I want to learn more, and I think at the moment, like I love the game, and if I can learn lots in the game, I'll stay in the game. But if my path is to go away and learn elsewhere and have an option to come back, that's definitely something I've thought about. Like, that my true passion has always been sport, but I also haven't exactly explored much else. Like, one thing about being us is that it can be all consuming, and I've been consumed by either study or playing for 15 years. So I don't know if maybe I like tech, I don't know. I don't know what I like. So, my plan is to get busy, go and learn as much as I can. Maybe it will be in AFL at either HQ or at a club. One thing is I'll probably step away from I probably won't coach. Like I don't think coaching in the near term's in my cards. It's funny though, I spent a lot of time this year sort of doing like key position specific. I don't mind that. Like if I really am passionate about the people, specifically, I love that part of it. But more broadly, business. Trying to increase my business acumen, my technical skills. That's sort of what I'm chasing.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a TBC.
It's a
Still in the
TBC,
future.
but like, you know, if anyone's
Which is a
offering
good
me a
thing.
job, if anyone wants to offer me a nice job, but like, you know, a lot of my friends are in like the private equity space and stuff like that, consulting, and you know, that stuff sort of interests me too. So I'm really trying to figure all that out.
All right, so it's finals time.
Yes.
The Giants are in. Out of like, not out of nowhere, but no one would have picked them at the start of the year to make finals, changing coach and all of the above. How have you seen that year pan out? And what do you think, and who do you think is the most important? I'm going to give you, you're going to have to bar Toby Green from that.
Yeah.
Who do you think is the most important person for the Giants in this final series apart from?
Yeah, well, I guess we're a story of like the pieces coming together. I think we were a puzzle that at the start of the year was all over the shop. We had the right pieces, but we had to get working together. And I guess we got that, once we started getting that roll on, you know, we played Carlton, I was so confident. Eston, I was so confident. You know, Port Adelaide was a bit of an aberration. You allowed one or two of those a year, and we used our card up then. But, you know, like for us, you know, let's exclude Toby. I'm also going to exclude Sam Taylor. Like, I think if you've got a key pillar down back and the best player in the comp in your forward line, let's probably remove those. I personally think it's probably going to have to be Kieran Briggs, just because I think in finals...
Talk about the pieces in a puzzle, Kieran Briggs.
I know. So he's come late, but my view is like, territory is so important, and if you've got a ruck, that can help you win clearances, get the ball forward and set the game up. Because if we can get the ball in our forward line, every team wants to do it, you just pin them in, because we're scoring from turnovers so well.
Yeah.
Well, our forward half stuff is, like, it was never that good when we were playing. No. But, you know, like now, that's our game, and I think for me, you know, Briggs and the midfield more broadly, like Cornelio, Kelly and the like, are going to have a big role, because we have to play the ball in our half, because that's when we're at our best. And you know, there's some formidable rucks out there.
Yeah, definitely. Most of the teams in the top 8 have huge rucks, and Briggsy, he's come out of nowhere. He's always had the potential.
Yeah.
Potential's a dangerous word, but especially for ruckman. But he had the potential, and it's finally clicked for him this year. Now, I'm going to make these are the tough questions, and I've asked this to everyone: best player you've played with, most influential player.
Yep.
And best characteristic of you.
Of me? So best player I've ever played with, I do a top 3. Is that allowed?
Well, probably not, but yeah.
So I played with Andrew McLeod.
Yep. Okay, I'll give you one from either club, even though you're there for 3 years.
So it was always McLeod, Dangerfield, and then Toby Green has now entered the discussion.
Yep.
But on longevity of success, it has to be Danger at the moment. McLeod, I can't give it to him because I only played for 2 years, but Danger, 8-time All-Australian, is the best. Toby, you know, it depends what he does in the next 4 or 5 years. Like, his absolute peak ahead of the ball like winning the ball ahead of the ball is so hard, and he does it. He's like worst games at 15-2. It's like disgusting. Like, it got to a point now where
used to be a midfielder. Yeah.
I know. It's like obscene. And then the second question was
best player you've played against. Yeah.
Well,
doesn't necessarily have to be opponent, but it can be the best player you played against. Can be opponent.
I think, you know, I always found Joel Selwood sort of inspiring from a distance. Like, I remember one day at Geelong, he single-handedly got them over the line in the last quarter, and I'd never seen someone sort of do that before. So I always noted that. But, you know, I think everyone would say, obviously, Buddy Franklin. But I do want to shout out Josh Kennedy from West Coast. I think he was the one player that I played on that never had a weakness. You know, apart from the stuttering run up to shoot a goal, which ended up going through anyway, but like, he could run, he was strong, he read the game really well, he was competitive. Like, there was no weakness. He was like at least an 8 out of 10 at everything, while Buddy had 11s in like a couple of areas. And like, for example, you know, his aerial marking wasn't his strength, but what he'd make up everything else made him probably the best.
And the best characteristic of you, which got you to where you are in your AFL career, and what'll get you through the rest of your off-field career going forward?
No, I just...
Because I know what it is.
Well, I think mine's always been, I'm just driven. Like, I'm tenacious. Like, I want to get the best out of myself. That's probably all it is. Like, I don't think physically I had any right to be an AFL player for 15 years for multiple reasons.
I thought someone said you were athletic right at the start.
At 17, I must admit, are the recruiters like drinking on the job or something?
Must have been that day.
No, I just think for me, like, I just always wanted to be the best, and that meant I invested more time in myself and developed myself as much as possible.
Yeah, I would have said the same, and I think that makes any player go from sort of a good player, an average player, to a great player is your competitiveness. And I'll add on top of that is the honesty that you showed, especially to me, because I was, when I first got to the club, a little bit of a rat bag, but trained hard and all that, and I found that you were the one who always brought me into line. And playing with someone who can do that is I always appreciated, like I did with Maxi, who's still one of my good mates, and obviously you when I went to the Giants, which is you're very, very similar, you two. So, mate, let's finish on that because that was a great chat. Looking forward to what's next for Phil Davis. Rumours are that you're moving to Melbourne, so you know I live in Melbourne. I know the places to go. So you just hit me up anytime you want to go.
Trust me, if
to a
I'm
nice
in
restaurant.
trouble, I'll call you. And if I know a nice restaurant or a nice bottle of red, I'll call you too.
Definitely, mate.
Thanks, Peter. Thank you, mate.